All right, guys. So let's go ahead and start. This is our second live session for BK Stocks, our public Discord. And we're just talking about a few stocks that I'm interested in purchasing or investing in long term for long term growth. And then we're going to talk about why am I looking at these stocks for potential long term growth and what you can look for yourself for stocks, ETFs, even indices for long term growth as well. Number one is that we're going to be looking at revenue growth. Okay. And then I have all of the details from what it tells you, what is revenue growth, how to evaluate it, and red flags. Okay. Again, I'm going to give this to you in a PDF in the chat once I finish this whole ordeal here. All right. Next thing is earnings. And earnings is pretty much everything that a company makes after they subtract their expenses. And that even includes taxes and interest. Okay. So growth in their earnings is highly, highly important. We're going to also look at how to evaluate a stock's earnings and then red flags, what you need to look for. All right. I'm not going to read all of this because I'm going to provide you the PDF. Gross profit margin. Gross profit margin. It tells you what to look for, what it is, how to evaluate it, and red flags. Operating margin. This is something you need to look at. And again, don't let these things intimidate you, especially if you're new to stocks, because I make it really, really easy. Our goal here at BK Trading Academy is to make things really simple for those who are new. So I try to put myself in your shoes or those of shoes who are completely new to stocks and don't know what to look for when they're evaluating stocks. And I break it down. This is just kind of a high level overview of what to look for when you're evaluating stocks. Okay, and then we'll go into detail a little bit, but everything is going to be in the academy as far as step by step. Earnings per share, also known as EPS. This tells you what it is, all right, how to evaluate it, and red flags. Free cash flow, it kind of speaks for itself. What it is, how to evaluate it, red flags. The next one is profitability ratios, debt levels, and interest coverage, forward guidance, and analyst estimates. And that's pretty much it when you're looking at stocks, ETFs, and indices. And for those who don't really know what ETFs are or indices, they're pretty much, kind of a high level information is they're pretty much a basket of something. So for example, the S&P 500 consists of 500 stocks of the largest stocks. The US 30 consists of 30 of the largest stocks. So when you're trading it, they pretty much grow in nature. And that's why I personally only buy these particular index or ETFs. The NAS 100 consists of 100 large companies of the United States, all basket into one. So you take a percentage of Apple, you take a percentage of Microsoft, you take a percentage of NVIDIA, you take a percentage of all of these tech companies, you dump it into the NAS 100, and there you have it. And there's constant growth. I never really sell. There's sometimes where I go against the trend, depending on what's going on. But for the most part, I'm a long-term trader. And this is what we're talking about is just holding long-term. All right. So let's go ahead and look at the chart. I'm going to give you a few stocks that I'm interested in. All right. And some of these you are well aware of. They're large, large companies. Number one, I'm going to go with Microsoft. Now, it's common. People are saying, yes, Microsoft, that's just kind of a given. But Microsoft isn't going anywhere. And I can assure you that. So if you were to look for long-term investment, I would look at Microsoft, but you don't want to just enter at any place. And I try to tell a lot of investors or future investors this. You don't want to just invest at any place. Just like when we're trading Forex, you want to get in at the best possible price. So let's go to the weekly really quickly here. And one, we just want to evaluate the trend. Okay. So if I go to all the way back, now I'm back in 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016, 2012, so on and so forth. And you can see how it's been flatlining, and not even flatlining. If I adjust it, you can see there's still growth. But overall, my point of showing you this is that Microsoft isn't going anywhere and it rises in nature and pretty much the world relies on it. So this is where we're at right here. You can see this dip in 2022. You'll see a lot of stocks, even currencies dipping at around this time frame in 2022. And this is where we're at. So we always want to go and invest in a higher low in an uptrend. So where I'm looking at and possibly investing is at this support level, knowing that price can come down probably as low as this area right here. I doubt it, but it could happen. And so I'm aware of that. So when you're investing, you want to be aware of that and make sure that if you're purchasing some stocks here, you want to make sure that you're purchasing enough that you can withstand this possible drawdown here. Okay. Price can even come down to around this level here. But where I'm interested at, I put my alert here is at $398.83. You can round it up to 400 if you want, but around this level is where I'm going to be investing in. Price is going to be rising. I'm sorry. Price is going to be rising due to holidays and things of that nature. But typically the market makers, what they do is allow price to drop before the grand rising. And I think it should come down around this area, no further than this zone here, around $375, give or take. Okay. I'm going to show you how to pull this up if you don't have it already. If I go to the daily time frame, this is where we're going to find the earnings report. Earnings report, we kind of went a little bit over that. This tells you how they're earning and their revenues and their dividends. So I like to click this here, this little purple marker, and it pulls up the earnings and revenue. If I click more Microsoft financials, it'll give me all of the data in a nice, clean graphical chart. It'll give me an overview. What is Microsoft? When it was founded, it gives me all the information here. Statements, statistics, dividends, earnings, which is really important. It gives you Q3, quarter three in 2023, quarter four in 2023, quarter one in 2024. You can see that it gives you a progression in a nice visual way. It'll give you the revenue. It tells you their EPS estimate, just a whole bunch of things. But we're not going to go into detail about this. I just want to show you how you can get there. I'll tell you how you can get to this point if you're unaware how to get there. Second one, Reddit. I talked to you guys about Reddit maybe a couple months ago when it actually went IPO. IPO means initial public offering. That simply means when a private company goes public, and then now you're able to buy and sell shares. When a company goes public, this allows them to grow by having a lot of people investing in them. All right. So imagine you have a company, it's private, you own it, you need to grow, but you can only grow so much based on whatever factors. In order to grow, you can have a lot of people invest in it by going public, where I can invest in your company, other people can invest in your company. So that's all that means. So Reddit is a social media company, and you can do your research on it if you're unfamiliar, but it's very popular. And it finally went IPO just recently this year in March. And I posted this in our stocks Discord when it went IPO, and I told you I would be investing in it. And you can see that it's climbed, it dipped, and this is normal, but I believe it's going to continue to go up. Now we're at a resistance level. Bad idea to actually invest right now. What I would do for Reddit is go to the earnings. They're having an earnings on October 29th. This little tab here is convenient. I love it, and I go here every single time when I want to find out earnings and revenues. The difficult way of finding a company's earnings and revenues is going to their website, finding it somehow. Usually you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom, look at investors, click a few things, and then voila, you have it. Some financial sites have details on earnings and revenue, but the easiest, because I know a lot of you guys use Tradingview, is go right here, and it's right here, details. So when you see a green E right here at the bottom, that means they had a positive earnings report. Green in the past, this was, and it's quarterly. So this was back in May 7th. Let's go back here. They didn't have one before because they just went public. So they only had two earnings reports since they went public this year. Their third quarter is happening October 29th. So it's coming up. All right. So far, they had two greens. I think they're going to have another green soon. I've done research on Reddit, and they're continuing to grow. I can't remember the percentage, but at least 40 to 50% growth since they went IPO. And they're really racking up. And it's only right now, $76 a share, give or take, because it's moving. So I do know for a fact that it's going to break this resistance because one is brand new. A lot of people invest in it. A lot of people use Reddit. And I think it's going to continue to grow because now they're elaborating with Google. So it's going to eventually break. But we never buy at resistance. I wouldn't buy if you're new at this and you plan on investing. I wouldn't buy now. You want to wait to either one, it drops down to a level that is comfortable with you at a higher low, or you want to wait for it to break, possibly retest, and then invest around this area, if that makes sense. So break, retest, that's your new higher low, okay? So it's too late to invest if you haven't already, but you want to wait for a higher low because it's definitely going to be climbing. And remember when Google and Apple and Microsoft first went IPO and a lot of people didn't know too much of those companies, this is going to be one of them. Now, I wouldn't say maybe a giant like them, but this will be one where it's cheap and it's going to continue to grow, in my opinion. Number three, we're going to look at Apple. And this is nothing new. Apple is going to continue to grow. Again, you want to look at their earnings. You want to find growth. Again, I'm looking at the green earnings report. Let's look at this here. Green earnings report. When you click it, it tells you they're surprised. They grew 4.12% for earnings, revenue, 1.5%. I can go back, another green, another green. And you're going to have some reds here and there. But overall, Apple is continuing to have a fantastic earnings report. And if you see, just like any other stock that I've showed you, constant growth, constant uptrend. So why not? And this is back in 1981. So, or 1980. So why not invest in something that it's secure? People already are aware of Apple. It's a home name. Currently, right now, it is at a resistance level. And I'm not going to go too deep into it, but you guys, a lot of you guys already know how to trade in our trading style who are on here. Currently at a resistance level. Again, you never want to buy at a resistance level. Price will drop and we'll prepare for the holidays. This is the weekly time frame. So you want to possibly invest around the holidays or just above, but you want to wait for price to drop, okay, at a support level. And if you want details on this, feel free to ask me in the diamond room or in a charts and chats room where you're like, okay, where would you like to invest in? Where do you think it may drop in? If not, again, break, retest, invest. Currently prices at $237 a share for Apple. So remember, IPO simply means when a company goes public. These are some companies that has either gone IPO this year or will be going IPO next year. Okay. Skims here is a company with Kim Kardashian. This is something that I would keep an eye out on. I wouldn't say long term, like Apple or Microsoft or something that you're going to maybe be saving for retirement, but something when it releases, I think is going to take off. And it's something that you may want to hold for maybe a year, give or take, maybe even a few months as it takes off. Discord is one that I will be investing in. They had an IPO date in 2024, but didn't make it, and they're timing it perfectly. And investors and analysts are looking at 2025 for them to actually go IPO, in which I will be looking to possibly buy as well. So one key takeaway that I like to say is when you are investing in a company, you want to typically invest in something that you like yourself, right? So if you are an Apple person and you aren't really too good on Samsung or Android, that's something that you probably want to look into investing. Not only because you're an Apple person, because Apple is doing well, but don't invest in something that you can't put your heart behind as well. You're actually an owner of a company when you start long-term investing or purchasing stocks. Okay. There's a lot more that I'm looking into. Kava is one. We talked about this a number of times. This one I'm currently in long-term. And it's starting to pull back a little bit, but we can see this long wick on the daily time frame that tells me that buyers want to continue to push higher. All right, so let me show you how you can find these earnings reports here. So if I go left, you'll see these earnings. Let me find Apple again because it has more. Kava just went IPO recently. So the earnings here, remember the E means earnings, D means dividends. How do you find this? Click it, you'll have all the information. Click more Apple financials, and you'll have everything you need to know about the company. There's a X here at the right corner that you can get out of it and get right back to your chart. So how do you find this, or how do you put this on your chart? You're going to right click your chart, scroll down to settings, and then you're going to click events here. And once you click events, you're going to click earnings, dividends, and I also like to click key facts today because it provides you with some very, very important information. So dividends. So if I unclick it, it's going to go away. You'll see all my E's go away. I'm going to click earnings, has everything there, and it'll tell you the date when it's happening. I'm going to click dividends. So you want to look at the colors. That's really important. This one here is purple because it's telling me that the earnings report hasn't come out yet. It's a future date. This one here is green because it's telling me that they had good earnings back in August 1st, 2024. For the period ending in June 2024. If I go back again, this is green. I'm going to scroll out really quick here and see if I can find a red one. Just for visual. So here's a red one back here, February 2023. And it tells you what happened. You can go into the financials and get all the details here. Let's fast forward here to, let me go to Microsoft really quickly here. So Microsoft here. Now remember, when you right click and you're clicking settings, I like to click where it says key facts today. That's this little purple kind of violet color symbol right here at the bottom. And this is what's happened today with Microsoft. You can see it lines up with the daily candle for Microsoft. If I click it, it gives me what happened today. These are some facts that happened today. This is critical for someone who maybe want to invest in Microsoft or who's already investing. So I'm going to read it off. It says Microsoft's market cap is around $3.1 trillion, ranking just behind Apple and Nvidia. Nvidia is also another long-term stock. I was going to get to that one. The stock rose by 0.7% to 0.9% as investors anticipate quarterly reports aiding the S&P 500's record high. Remember, Microsoft is also a part of the S&P 500. S&P 500 is also something that I would invest in too, or consider investing in for those who are possibly interested in. Your 401ks is invested in S&P 500 and how they trade it. Microsoft will test cloud gaming. Microsoft is huge when it comes to gaming. Gaming is, I don't even know the percentage. I have to look up the facts on it. But gaming is like really, really high up when it comes to like sectors, for example. Like semiconductor is very, very high when it comes to sectors. But gaming is really high, guys. So Microsoft is pretty much, I think, leading the gaming industry. And you know, Microsoft is more than gaming. They have a whole bunch of other things. But Microsoft will test cloud gaming for player-owned Xbox games in November, which is next month, with Xbox insiders addressing prior delays as it upgrades to cloud systems to support additional games. Microsoft experienced a rise in stock price as part of the overall surge in technology stocks, contributing to the market's record highs. You can click here for more news if you want to go into detail. So these are the three things in the settings area that I click and that I try to find and look at every single day when I'm evaluating stocks or stocks that I'm already into. But just wanted to give you some tips and nuggets to look at when you're investing in stocks. I also want to provide you with some things that I am also looking at investing in as well. Apple, I've invested in it numerous of times. I don't have any shares in Apple right now, but I see another opportunity. And remember, guys, holidays are huge for investing. You just want to wait for that pullback, especially for large companies. Another thing you can do is back test it. For example, let's go to Apple really quickly. And then you want to go back to what happened with the last holiday. And then, of course, fundamentals is going to take place. Fundamentals is something that is huge that we go into in depth in the academy as well. But fundamentals you want to watch as well. But you typically want to just back test and go back to the last time, around the time you're looking to invest, to see what happened at that time, because seasons play a lot in investing as well. Apple products may not be as hot during the summer season as it is the winter season, or vice versa. So those are some factors that you want to take a look at as well. So I just sent that screenshot in the chat. I'm going to also send it in the diamond room as well. And then now I'm going to go ahead and send you a PDF of what I just went ahead and viewed, which is this here. So everything that I went through that you need to actually look at when evaluating a stock or ETF or an index, everything here, I just included in the PDF and I just sent it in the chat. So really quick, really sweet, guys. I wanted to drop some information for you. You guys already know how to reach out to me. I suggest that you reach out in the diamond room and or the chart and chat and question room for questions if you have any.